Ange, congratulations, October Scottish Premiership Manager of the Month. I know it's a nice award for you, but I'm sure it's all about the team, and it's a vindication of the fact that the team has had such a good month in terms of performances.
Yeah, I definitely don't see it as an award for me. When you have such a very strong period, an almost perfect sort of 5 weeks for us. It's a reflection of the whole group. The players, obviously, because they've maintained a fantastic level of performance, but also all the staff, the football staff, who been working really hard to get the guys up and running, and then the sports science staff, the medical team, the analysts, everyone who's involved, because you don't sort of get that sort of consistency of performance unless the whole group's contributing, and super pleased for everyone involved, because it's a great reflection of everyone's efforts.
Yeah, I was going to say that, because I suppose in football as well, it's a team sport, whether that's in the 90 minutes, but as you say, every day behind the scenes, even though you might be the person that's given the award, you're the first person to acknowledge you can't do it on your own.
No, absolutely not, and it's not the role. My role is to guide a group of people to try and get some success for this football club. But within that, they're driving it themselves. They're putting their own energies and their own talents into it as well. And you ask any of the players, and they probably see less of me than any other staff member in terms of their day-to-day work here. It's the other people within this building that help them prepare for games, recover from games, give them the information. So absolutely, this is it's been a team effort, and it'll continue to be that way.
And I suppose when you look back on those performances in October, the 4 wins and a draw, some really tough away games, some really impressive performances, and just a sign that that what you're trying to implement in the style of play, in the way that we try to impose our game on the opposition, it's working in games in different circumstances.
Yeah, and I think what can't be overlooked was it was a critical period for us. We almost had to be perfect through this period if we wanted to maintain our sort of progress and make sure we didn't lose traction in the league in particular, but even in Europe. We kind of knew going into this period that we had to be really consistent in our performances and be able to play under pressure. As you said, our away record prior wasn't great, so we knew we had 3 tough away games in that period, and to go through those 3 games playing really well in tough places against good opponents, and also winning, not even dropping a point. It's been super pleasing to see that the players have coped with that kind of pressure, because what we do know is that's not going to ease up. We've got to continue that, and I think the players and the staff will get a lot of belief knowing we've come through that period so well.
Kind of an extension of what we're talking about in terms of this award is for the collective. I know you've spoken a couple of times, the goal scorers always get the headlines in the games, and that's the nature of football, but I know you've always been at pains to say this is all about the team. And I'm guessing likes of Kyogo and Jota, they'll be the first to acknowledge it's the guys elsewhere on the team that are giving them that platform and creating the goals, and that's what you really want your team to function as.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth, it's the facts. I've said a few times, if Joe Hart and the back 4, Cam Vickers and Ralston and Carl, whoever else has been playing there, Josip, if they weren't willing to play out from the back under pressure, and Joe was just knocking long balls to the 3 up front, I doubt they'd be getting goals. And it's a lot easier for our defenders if we did that. But I think they appreciate that. The kind of football we play, the hard work our midfielders put into winning the ball back in key areas. I mean, a lot of their goals have come from pressure from our midfielders winning the ball back in good areas and giving them the opportunity. So they understand that, and they appreciate that, they're getting the rewards. And to be fair to them, the strikers, they're putting in a shift as well, because they have to work hard defensively. So we don't overlook that fact. We don't just assess them on the goals they're scoring. We're assessing them on, our defensive record this month has been excellent as well, and that's because, the likes of Kyogo and Jota and Liel and the others up there are working their backsides off to make sure that they make it difficult for the opposition.
Does it also help, with the system that you want to play and the players, become increasingly familiar with it? For example, someone like Near Beaton can come in when Tom Rogic gets injured and fits in and anchors that midfield and plays so well. And as you say, that's a springboard for what the rest of the team can do as well.
That's probably been our biggest progress this period. The period before we lost Cal and we lost Furuhashi and we really struggled for consistency. This time, Tommy Rogic was outstanding for us. He obviously dropped out, and we lost Carl for the last couple of games. And as you said, people like Neto and Welshie have stepped in, and our performances haven't dropped. And that's been for me the most pleasing thing about this sort of group of games, and it's what's going to be important for us moving forward. Is that players come in and when required. Do their part in making sure our performance levels don't drop, and that was really pleasing. Even the fact that we could sort of give Liel a little bit of a spell in this part, and Mikey Johnson came in and played a couple of games again without our performances dropping. Georgios Giacomakis got some games, so that's going to be critical for us moving forward. So again, it's not something that we dismiss. We definitely highlight that in the group and how important it is we have a strong squad.
And in terms of the international break, I think managers, I suppose there's a sense of keeping your fingers crossed that everybody reports back injury free, but is it a case of obviously keeping the players ticking over, but a chance maybe to recharge the batteries? Because I think when we come back, I think it's 12 games between the semi-final and the derby in January the 2nd. That is an intensive schedule of fixtures.
Absolutely, and it just again we've been pretty sort of diligent in making sure that we kind of treat the players as individuals, and there are some like Jota and Carter Vickers, Anthony Ralston who stayed, who have played every game, who need a bit of a break. There are others who need a bit of work because they haven't had a lot of game time. Others who are sort of recovering in rehab from injury. So. That's where, as I said right at the outset, that's where all the staff, not the football staff, but the medical team and the sports science staff, do their majority of their work to give us the information to make sure that when we come back, as you said, hopefully the internationals come back, but we've got some massive games between now and the new year, and we want to perform at our best possible level, and we can only do that if we go into it with as many healthy and fit bodies as we can.
Obviously, just before the break, we had Anthony Ralston and Greg Taylor both committing their future to the club. And I know football is all about rewarding people for hard work on the pitch by getting game time. But for those two, that must be pleasing as well for you, that it's given them that kind of security in terms of the future, but it's the reward for what they've done since you've come in. Yeah,
no doubt. And it's important for us in this period to start building some solid foundations for a new team. We brought in 12 or 13 new players this year, and a lot have left, and you want to be able to tie some anchors down where you kind of know that we kind of know with the new players coming in, they've all signed new contracts that hopefully be a part of what we're doing going forward, but also some of the existing guys to make sure that the key ones, the ones who not just with their on-field abilities but also with their values that they have that we want to keep around this football club to build a new team. And, we did it obviously with Cal being the first cab off the rank, and then, Tony and, as you said, Greg have worked hard for their opportunities and again, show the right sort of characteristics and values that I think are important when you're building a new team. So pleased for the boys, but I think they're important for what we're trying to build going forward.
I know that in terms of football management, you're always looking ahead. You always have to look to the next game. But I know you're always very aware of our past in terms of Celtic. First of all, I was going to ask you, you helped launch the Celtic FC Foundation's Christmas Appeal, which again kind of goes to the heart of what Celtic is as more than a club, and that whole charitable aspect, particularly at this time of the year, is so important.
Super important. It's just that it is what the club's about. You can have you know, you can talk about the club's success, and it's had a fair bit of that, you know, unequal success in terms of a football club. But I think what's more important, what stands it apart, it's what it stands for and its values, and those kind of things are really important for us, even within, you know, sort of this building and the squad and the staff, that we understand that and we can learn from that. You know, you can become a better person from understanding why those values exist and why they're important. And as you said, particularly this time of the year, we're all very fortunate that we're in, you know, privileged places of providing for our families, whereas others aren't. And we must always bear in mind there's a responsibility there to look after the less fortunate. And, you know, when you're walking into a building and an institution that has that literally written on its walls, it can't help but be an impact on you as an individual and me and on the people in here. So yeah, it's a very important message, and one I'm very proud to be part of.
And someone who always embodied everything that was good about Celtic and what we stood for was the late great Tommy Burns. And I know you were at Celtic Park to see the first night of the Tommy Burns play. How was that? I'm guessing it would have been, you know, quite an emotional occasion as well, but to be sitting with fellow fans watching this story on stage.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic experience. I went with my wife, and it's a great production. The cast and the crew have done a fantastic job in honouring Tommy. I'm sure his family would be proud. And as you said, to share it with 450, 60 other Celts in the room was quite special, and there was plenty of laughter, which you know, is obviously synonymous with Tommy, and you know, plenty of tears as well. It was very emotional. But what comes through is what I've always sort of believed myself as I've got older, is that as much as Tommy's achievements were unbelievable, it's who he was as a man that stands out. You know, that's why people still remember him today and will remember him forever, because of the person he was. You know, and there's a lesson there for everyone. You know, I know we're driven on achieving things, and that's great, because that gives you focus and you want to be part of something special, but it shouldn't diminish the fact that you can still be a good person doing all those things. And in the end, that's what people reflect on most. And he was obviously an outstanding person. So yeah, privileged to be in the room, privileged to see opening night, enjoyed it immensely, and I'm sure everyone else who gets to see it will do likewise.
Well, Ange, thanks very much for talking to us. Congratulations to you, your backroom staff, and all the players for this thoroughly deserved Manager of the Month award.
Thanks, Paul.